Welcome to the Women's National League Ref Series 14. Delighted to be joined with Shauna and Alana again this week. I'm just going to kick right off with Dealor and Bohs. They played on Thursday night. It ended in a 0-0 draw. You know, Alana, like there weren't too many chances from either side, and I suppose, you know, Bohs losing Sinead Taylor like 20 minutes in wasn't ideal for them, and definitely kind of a frustrating game for both sides. But do you think the 0-0 draw maybe was the right result in terms of the game?
Yeah, you'd hope Sinead Taylor wouldn't be out for too long. Obviously, a massive player for them and in the league, so best wishes to her. But yeah, I think so overall. To be honest, it wasn't really a great one for the neutral, as they say. But nothing to separate the two. I think if anything, DLR will have been disappointed. Given their respective table positions, I'd say they would have thought coming into that one that maybe they'd come away with, more of a performance, I think, more than results than they did. Like, I mean, they had a few chances, half ones at that, like Rachel Doyle, Letman, Claire, and Joy Ralph as well, who obviously is still so young. But yeah, like they did have half chances, but nothing to really write home about, I guess. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how they change things up a bit after the break, get the bit of a mojo back they had more so at the start of the season.
Yeah, and sure, look, both teams kind of come away with a point, so there is that kind of that positive to take. Wexford, they were the 1-0 winners in Talca Park. Jess Lawler got the winner against Shells. Shauna, although Wexford, you know, they didn't really have the ball for most parts of the game, they got the goal, they kept Shells scoreless, and you know, they got the 3 points. Do you think that was their kind of game plan coming into the match?
Yeah, I think they would have expected Chelsea to kind of dominate in possession. It's the Shells way, but you know, you can dominate in possession all you like. It doesn't count for anything if you're not kind of turning it into chances and goals. And I thought Wexford allowed them play until a certain point in the pitch, and then they were kind of crowding the player out on the ball. And the other thing as well, watching back, was like Ciara Roster tracked every single one of Jess Gargan's runs. You know, she had no space up or down that flank, which I thought, you know, credit to Rossi. It was a hard day's work, but look, you make your own look in football. And I think, in fairness to Wexford and to Jess Lawler, I think if you look at that piece of footage alone, you could say, oh look, it was just one of those things. It could go in one day and not the other day. But over the course of the game, I just thought Wexford, they applied themselves with such intensity and hard work. Chasing that ball down is only one example of that. Late on in the game, there's another example where Wexford win the ball in their own box, and Della Doherty chases the ball to make sure that goes out for a throw-in rather than Shells getting it back and continuing attacking. And I think that speaks volumes about how much they wanted to win that game. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting goal, but in terms of how Wexford played, I just thought their appliance over 90 minutes was excellent.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know, considering like the level of quality that was in that game, and you know, unfortunately that was the goal to win it, but it was, you know, great pressing by Jess Lawler, and look, sure, it went in and it got them all the 3 points. You know, Peamount, they beat Sligo at the Showgrounds 5-0. You know, Stephanie Roach hat-trick. Just a great performance overall by Peamount, Alana, and you know, their last 2 results is probably what they needed kind of coming into the break after that kind of spell of winless games.
Definitely, and I'm sure they'll be looking to kind of continue that bit of a streak in form they have gathered over the last few games, because obviously now 3 off Wexford, 8 off Top and Shells. You know, I suppose everyone might have thought it'd be a little bit tighter there at the top, but at least kind of coming back to that, whereas there was a little bit of a waver there in the middle. But you mentioned, yeah, Steph Roach hat-trick and a big impact from Tegan Ruddy and Alana McAvoy too. I thought the battle between the younger girls, McLaughlin and Pixie O'Hara, was actually quite interesting too when I was just watching it back. But yeah, Sligo a bit off the pace there this week, against a good team, albeit. But I'd say, given the bit of momentum they gather around some of the big results like the Wexford win last week, maybe they'll be looking to bring that confidence into next week or after the break.
Yeah, after the break. I know it's gone so fast. Can't believe it. Yeah. We're halfway through already. It was a 0-0 draw now between Galway and Athlone. You know, there weren't too many clear-cut kind of chances in that one, and both sides probably frustrated not to get like the 3 points, you know, because they've both been playing really great football in recent weeks. I suppose, Shauna, like how interesting is it gonna be to see those kind of two, who's going to come out on top as we near kind of the end of the season, because they are quite close in, you know, quality and how they play.
Yeah, I think it took Galway a few weeks to kind of get settled and find a bit of momentum. And they're there now. For Athlone, you know, they've been a dark horse this season, and they've really impressed me. I think in terms of the game at the weekend, they were without Wirren and Emily Corbett, and for them, they'll probably look back on it now and go, you know, we'll happily take a point, being without two such big players. Galway, on the other hand, probably be disappointed that they didn't capitalise. They had more of the clear-cut chances. I think Jenna headed one onto the bar that she probably should have put away by her standards. But yeah, I think that's going to be a real battle. Like, unfortunately, I don't think the pitch suited either team. It seemed quite congested, and there was a lot of kind of ping pong in the middle of the park. But it'll be interesting to see them, you know, either back at Lowndes ground or Galway's ground on a bigger pitch, where, you know, they can play football. I think those games are going to be close and very competitive, and it's definitely going to, I think, turn into a bit of a rivalry. But I think they'll both be wanting to finish ahead of each other, and it'll be interesting to see. I hope both can continue to form into the next half of the season.
Yeah. Finally, Cork, they got the win over Treaty 2-1. It was quite an entertaining one, quite close at times. You know, Cork kind of came out in that second half with a real desire to win, and that's exactly what they did. And I suppose, Alana, it would have been great for Treaty to get their first win of the season, 3 points before the break. But then again, fantastic for Danny Murphy and Cork, you know, especially after that kind of 7-0 defeat last week to Peamount, for them to get the win this week going into the break. It will give them great confidence, I presume, coming back into the league after the break.
As Shauna mentioned there, like, this one is another one where it's kind of like both of those sides will want to finish above each other, and that's why it would mean so much. Added the derby factor, then it's it was a tense one, I'd say, down there. But yeah, Treaty getting the penalty first, and you know, maybe in another game, maybe that would have been enough for them to kind of hold out for a bit. But the Daniel Burke and the Singleton goals were just absolutely unbelievable. Like, but yeah, as I say, a great bounce back from Cork. Maybe Danny Murphy's kind of starting to imprint his kind of style on the team. And while his comments last week, I suppose, were like on first read harsh, maybe he's obviously setting standards down there, but he kind of believes that can be achieved. So if it works out for them, absolutely, I'd say they'll be delighted with that. So it'll be interesting to see how things go there. I guess for Treaty, maybe the break is a good chance for them to kind of reset and kind of assess where they're at, because they do have those kind of ever-present performers. Like singly, it's just about getting that kind of working together as a unit, I guess. But they're so young, so they can only improve, I think.
Yeah, dead right. And quickly, before we go, just a final question. I'll come to you, Shauna, first. Do you think, you know, we're halfway through the season now, has it kind of panned out the way you thought it would?
I mean, in terms of each team's position in the league, like, I think we kind of expected the three that are at the top to be, you know, up there, just not really sure of the order. I think, as I said, Athlone, dark horses, they're the ones I probably would have had Galway above them. But other than that, yeah, for me, I think the other half of the table is as I would have expected.
Yeah. And Alana, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of echo that. Like, obviously the three, you'd expect them to be up there anyways. I did think it'd be a lot tighter than it currently is. And then, yeah, as you say, like, the story of the season has to be Athlone Town and whatever Tommy Hewitt has got going for them down there, because I think as well it's testament that it'll give a lot of other teams hope that, you know, it's not just that big three as everyone always talks about. Like, there is a lot of scope for more teams to go on and improve and really put it up to those kind of teams. So yeah, I think it'll be an interesting to see what everyone does after the break.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks, Emil, for joining me, guys, and I'll speak to you after the break.